I've met enough very high net worth individuals who say, well, I just wanted security. I got out of the market and I just did a bond ladder for the next, I've even seen 20 to 30 years. And I went, how are you handling inflation risk? They said, what do you mean? Welcome to How to Retire on Time, a show that answers your retirement questions. My name is Mike Decker, along with David Franson over here, and we're going to be taking your questions. Just text them right now to 913-363-1234, and we'll take them one at a time. Again, that number, 913-363-1234. Let's begin.
Hey, Mike, I want guaranteed income for the first few years of retirement, not for life. Is there a bond ladder Is a bond ladder the best strategy?
When you think of laddered investments, David, what do you think of? There's the bond ladder, but can you think of any other ones?
Yeah, so a laddered investment. So you're saying like there's stages, I guess. So are you like withdrawing in a sequence? Is that what that
Yeah,
means?
so I think
Yeah,
that's what most people would assume. So
yeah.
for those that don't know, a bond ladder is basically you buy a bond that matures in 1 year,
hmm
and then in that year, then you liquidate it and you spend it. But when you retire, you also bought a bond that matures in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. They're all at fixed rates, and so basically you're just spending when as it comes due, and you can ladder it out for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. I mean, really as much as you want.
And when did this strategy first come about? And when did someone think to do this? Is this an old strategy?
I don't know, probably in the 20s or 30s or
Uh,
something. I mean, it's the idea of laddering out income
hmm
has been around for a very long time. The three ladders that I'm most aware of is you've got the bond ladder, so you're buying treasuries or bonds and laddering them out on the maturity dates. You can do a CD ladder, but CDs aren't really offered past 5 years. Generally speaking, I know there's always exceptions, but generally speaking, you'll ladder out to 5 years or so. Fixed annuities, if you're past the age of 59 and a half, you could buy basically CD from an insurance company. So it's a fixed interest rate, a fixed growth rate for a pre-selected period of time, and they can be laddered out to about 10 years or so. So these are different ways that you can structure your income. Okay. And there's a benefit to that. Structured income means it doesn't matter if the markets go up, down, or stay flat. You have predictability for a certain period of time. That's the idea behind it. Okay, you with me so far on that?
Yeah, so it's like, here's my $200,000 insurance company. Now pay it back to me over 5 years at this rate.
Or bank
Okay,
or
yeah.
or treasury.
Okay, yes.
You've laddered it out. The problem with bond ladders, before we talk about other ways to do this, is in any ladder at that matter, is inflation.
Mm,
So these are all what I would call cash or cash equivalent accounts. And if we experience hyperinflation, it doesn't matter. You have your fixed rate. So if we have hyperinflation and let's say cumulatively over 2 to 3 years, there's a 30% inflationary, like we just recently experienced, um, your bond ladder's worth 30% less.
mm.
So you need to be proceeding carefully with this. And the reason why I say this is I've met enough very high net worth individuals who say, well, I just wanted security. I got out of the market and I just did a bond ladder for the next, I've even seen 20 to 30 years. And I went, how are you handling inflation risk? They said, what do you mean? I don't have market risk. I said, but how are you handling inflation risk? And that's typically where they'll stumble a little bit and they say, I didn't really think about that. Or, oh, well, I'll and then they kind of try to talk themselves out of the risk instead of saying, yeah, that's a good point. How do we solve that? So for what it's worth, there are other ways to do this. So this person, if the question's right, they don't want lifetime income, correct?
Yeah, they want guaranteed income for the first few years of retirement.
Okay, so they must have read my book, and what they
Ah,
want is structured income with a small reservoir. So just to translate what that means is structured income, they want no ambiguity on the first couple of years so that when they want to retire, they know they're going to walk right onto the first year is principal protected income. The second year is principal protected income. The third year, it's a nice transition into retirement, but there's still assets in the market. There's still assets in growth. You're still able to offset inflation. You're not as concerned about market risk and so on. It's a very balanced approach. The way that I have seen more people resonate with that usually have no idea this option even exists is called period certain annuitization.
okay.
Okay, so let me explain what that is. So most people seem to believe that when you buy an annuity, you turn on lifetime income. That's not actually how it works. Okay. So lifetime income is, from what I understand, a relatively new concept that the insurance companies have offered. And if you think I'm pitching lifetime income right now, sorry to inform you, I actually wrote the entire book, How to Retire on Time, to protest or try to talk people out of doing that. Okay. I don't think it's financially in people's best interest, personally speaking. Now, I have clients that ask for it. That's fine. I understand the emotional side of the comfort of lifetime income. But people typically associate annuities with a lifetime contract with lifetime income. Annuities have been around since, I believe, somewhere between the 1700s and 1800s.
Really?
Hmm.
Huh.
They've been around for a very, very long time, but the original version of an annuity is under the term annuitization, which is where you receive payments for a certain period of time. That's the old school definition. Why do I bring this up? Um, People typically are concerned about lifetime income because they want control over their money, but they want some structured payments for some periods of time. So, what you could do and read the contracts, do your due diligence, but you could buy certain annuities that offer the period certain annuitization option. And so, let's say, David, you've got a couple $1 million.
Oh, I
Okay.
like where this is going already. I love
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas. And but you're working and you still enjoy working. You don't know exactly when you want to work.
Mm.
That's a difficult situation when it comes to how do you line up your treasury ladder or your bond ladder or your CD ladder, because you don't really know what it's going to work. So what you could do is you could put some assets into an annuity, knowing that at any given moment you could turn on annuitization for a period certain time, and it could be 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years. Okay. I like the 5 year option because I like more flexibility in the portfolio personally, but everyone's going to be different. But the idea is the day you have that last day, you're like, I'm done with this. I'm sick of these people. I used to love them, but things have really changed. The culture has shifted, and I don't recognize the company anymore. I don't need to do this anymore. I could have retired years ago. I'm ready. Well, what if that moment happens when the markets crash? What would happen? This is where buying an annuity within 5 years, 2 to 5 years of when you want to retire, you don't buy them 10 years or 20 years before you want to retire. You buy it when you're near retirement, and that moment that you're ready to turn on income, you turn on the income. You've got to know how much income you need, but you'll take either half, the majority, or all of the income you need in retirement, and you turned on annuitization for about 5 years. So in that moment, because it's dynamic, you can turn it on whenever you want. The first 5 years of retirement are completely guaranteed, like a CD ladder that can start whenever you say it starts. So the asset or the annuity would have growth potential. So the markets go up, you're making money. You're not going to get rich off of this, but hopefully it grows better than it would a bond or CD ladder would. Has no downside risk, and it turns on the day you want to retire, whenever that day is. It's a way that people can transition to retirement while still keeping the majority of their assets in the market for growth, for future flexibility, to offset inflation, and so on. Is this right for everyone? No. Sometimes the treasury ladder is going to make sense. Sometimes the CD ladder is going to make sense. Sometimes buying a smaller annuity, knowing that it's going to cover the first 5 years of some or all of the income, depending on what your plan looks like, could be a right option for it. It depends on what you want. Um, so I don't want this to sound like a product pitch. I hope everyone that's listening and understands I am defining a tool as it is. You would never use a hammer to cut wood,
No.
but you would use a hammer if you need to put some nails into a wall or whatever that is. You would use a saw to cut wood. You're going to use, I mean, I'm not a contractor, but you get the idea.
Right.
This is a tool being defined for a very specific purpose, if that makes sense. But the idea is you need to live your best life. Sometimes that means you keep working. But when that day comes, are you going to be prevented from retiring on time, even though you could have afforded it, but maybe the markets turned or something happened? Are you prepared for that dynamic evolution of the markets, of your lifestyle, and so on? I found most people seem to have a plan for when the markets go up, but there's very little downside protection. So there's not really much of a plan for when the markets go down. They might say, well, but we've got these bond funds over here. Bond funds can lose money. If the markets crash, Iran has that scare and things go the way we don't want them to go, and they clog up in oil, inflation is going to get out of control. And if inflation gets out of control, even when the markets are crashing, then they're going to jack up interest rates. And if they jack up interest rates, then the bond funds are going to lose money. If bond funds lose money and the equities, your stocks lose money, is that really a sound retirement plan? No, it's not.
Yeah.
So the idea that, oh, we have these bond funds, they're less risky, that's not a plan, in my opinion. That is how to sell someone a stock and bond fund portfolio to either charge them a percentage of fees to keep them all in something that they can charge you on, or they can get back-end commissions because they gave you bond funds instead of bonds. I mean, just understand the nuance of these situations. Is it possible that the day you want to retire, you can walk into retirement and take income from a principal protected source regardless of what markets are doing? Most people that come in the office, they can't say they know how to do that, and it's explained away by their current advisor. So I really want to push hard and say, yes, there's more than one option. The bond or treasury ladder or CD ladder is an option if you know exactly when you want to retire. And if you don't, you want to keep things open, it may not be appropriate for you. It just depends. But this is the kind of conversation I think people need to have individually with someone that understands how to do comprehensive and holistic retirement planning. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Make sure that you like and subscribe first, and then go to www.retireontime.com to grab a copy of my book, How to Retire on Time, take a few courses about retirement, join my newsletter, and so much more. Now, if you want to work with one of our advisors here at Kedrick Wealth who can help you put together a retirement plan that's designed to last longer than you, just click the button, Get Started. Everything we do is intended to help you retire on time. We hope you enjoy, and we'll see you in the next show.